Morning, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Love 500 and welcome back to Project Ryvita. I can always do that, don't I? I don't know why I do that. Welcome back to Project Ryvita, day 2 I believe this is. We showed you in the last video the bumper. We're going to use that new bumper, see if we can get that painted today back on the car, and fingers crossed that that it matches. So let's get on with it. Let's see how much we can get done in this video. This possibly could be a long video, but let's do it. Let's get as much done as we can. Let's go. Okay, so it's back on its wheels. I've just slung the old bumper, the one that I wanted to use. I'm gutted that I can't, but hey ho. I've slung that just back on for the time being, and I have put the new steering wheel gaiter on, and I've put all that back together, cleaned it all before I put it all back on. So that's interior wise, apart from just a final clean, that's done now. So what's left? Obviously bumper, bonnet I'm hoping to get on Tuesday, service, cam belt probably, and these dents. I've cleaned the front wheels up, put them back on obviously. We'll take the back wheels off and give them a clean as well, and go over the hubs, disc, no not discs, what they call drums. Go over those, give them a brush, give them a black paint probably as well. So I'm hoping that this bumper will be back on tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday, because MOT is Wednesday. I'm off this weekend, so I should be able to get it back on. I'm working Monday, but I'm off Tuesday, so I'm thinking out loud. I'm off Tuesday, so I'd rather not leave it till last thing Tuesday. I'd rather get it on over the weekend. So yeah, get it painted today, get it lacquered today. Tomorrow I can polish it up and then take all the trim off of here and put it on that one. This trim's actually a bit ropey, so I'll probably put some new trim. I've got some new ones. I'll probably use those instead. Then we use the old Tiger Seal like we did before. Put those on. We'll take these ones off. We'll see what badges we've got. I might put an overlay on the badge, because that badge is a bit cracked. If I've got a decent badge, I'll put one on. And then that'll be it for that, and then we can get that on, and then it's just that hopefully Tuesday I should be able to go over to Romford and pick up this bonnet. If not, I'll have to paint that as well. But I did ask him if he could make a listing for me so I could hit buy now, but he didn't reply to that, but then he was off. So yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there slowly but surely. I just want to get this, I was concerned about this bumper, and I just want to get it painted now. So I am going to go and have some lunch, and then what I'm going to do is the entire bumper painting and prep I am going to do on time lapse. And then what I'll do is I'll come back in tomorrow and I'll put it all back on, and then we'll finish this video off, and this will be your Sunday video, and then whatever's left to do we'll do on the next one. So I will see you on the other side of my lunch. I actually forgot to set the camera up on time lapse. That's the first coat, so I gave it, scuffed it up with a grey pad. I done 2 coats of filler primer, high build primer, whatever you like to call it, from Paints For You. I then knocked that back, and I've now done 1 coat of the top coat, base coat. I keep calling it top coat, base coat. We don't know whether the colour's going to be right or not. Obviously there's only 1 coat, it's going to be darker than that, so I'm just going to let that dry for half an hour whilst I pop out, and then I'll come back and we'll give it another coat, and then we'll leave that another half an hour or an hour or something, and then we'll get some clear on it and just hope and pray. Looks a bit light, but then again it is only a first coat, so but it does look a bit light, I have to say. Oh, it's a difficult colour to match, this one, but fingers crossed. Right, I'll be back when we get to the next coat. Right, there's 3 coats. Looks good. I've used about a can and a third to do 3 coats on that. So hopefully I'll have enough to do that rear quarter. and we just hope it matches. It always looks completely different before you until you get clear on it anyway, but yeah, it's gone on nice. They always do. Good old Paints for You paint always goes on nice. Being summer helps. It's very humid today. Oh, I've got a little run there, look, didn't notice that, but number plate's going over that, so I don't care. And that's the best place to get one really, isn't it? If you're going to have a run, have it behind the number plate. Yeah, no, it looks good. Looks good. Hope the clear goes on as well. It makes such a difference doing it in the summer. I'm going to try and avoid painting in the winter again. It's been a bit of a nightmare. Oh, there's a fly. Get out of it. Yeah, I'm going to try and avoid it in future. But yeah, I'm going to leave it about another hour, or half an hour, something like that, and then I'm going to start getting the clear on it. Quick job, isn't it? Right, there it is. It is lovely. I'm getting really good at this. Who needs a spray gun when you can do it with rattle cans? I'm getting really good at this, even if I do say so myself. There is a little bit of orange peel, but we'll probably wet sand it and cut it back. You know, what am I talking about? You know, wet sand, cut and polish. That's the phrase I was looking for. Yeah, wet sand it and then polish it very lightly, because I don't need very much. It's really, really shiny. It's lovely. So that's been on about 10 minutes. There is a couple of, and there is a little bit of rain in the air, you know. I thought there was. There's a couple of little drops on it. It is dry now, I think. But there is a couple of little drops of rain, but they're sitting on the surface, so I'll leave them alone. It came over all black. I didn't actually feel any rain, but there are one or two little drops. But I'm not going to touch them. There's a couple of little insects I noticed that have ended up getting stuck in the bloody clear coat. It always happens. Can't be off. I've seen someone who does a lot of painting outside, and they're in Florida. When you think what the insects are like in Florida, if anyone that's been to Florida or anyone that lives there, I know when you're driving along you have those love flies, don't you? And you've got two flies joined together and they splatter on your windscreen. There's millions of the damn things. But someone, he was by a river as well. I can't remember what his name is now, but he does quite a lot of painting stuff with spray cans, and he's by a river, and he does it out on like the lawn outside of his garage, and he's got this river running along the side. You think he would be inundated with insects, but he seems to get a good finish. But no, I'm well pleased with this. It's just Paints for You. Fantastic. Yes, so anyway, we're going to leave that to dry for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to put it in the garage just to protect it. I don't want to touch it at the moment because although it's dry to the touch, I don't want to end up banging it or something. Yeah, we'll come back tomorrow. We'll polish it up, and we will get all the bits of trim on it, and we'll put it on. Right, I didn't show the polishing on camera, unfortunately. But it's all done. The only thing I've got left to put in is the DRLs, but it is looking marvellous. I wet sanded it this morning and then polished it up. I haven't actually polished it. I didn't think it needed it, but I will be waxing it. I'll probably put some polish on it as well, actually, even though I've put the trim on. But yeah, I don't know what the match is like. I haven't offered it up to the car yet. I'm going to do that with you now. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, because the finish is nice. It's really good. Pleased with it. Really pleased with it. So I am going to go and take the old bumper off now. I'm going to stick the DRLs in here, and then we'll offer it up, and we'll see what it looks like. Fingers crossed. Right, so we've only got 2 bolts to undo, so we'll just undo these, take them off, and then we'll take it out in the garden and have a look, see what it looks like. Right, see you in the garden. Right, here I come. So if we lay that one down, I'd say that was pretty damn close. Huh. Maybe the new one is very slightly darker, but I'd say that was not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely darker. But I don't know how light, I can't remember how light this bumper was compared to the rest of the car. I think the bonnet of the car is well out, isn't it? Well out, but yeah. Let's actually stand it up so the light's falling on it in the same way. Yeah, it is different. It is definitely different. Oh, actually through the camera it looks completely different. It's not as different in real life as it is on camera. Let's just hope it's not too different, because we might have to try doing a bit of blending on the wings. And until we get the bonnet, of course, we don't know what the bonnet's going to look like. So I'm just going to swap these lights over, and then we'll go back out to the car and we'll offer it up and see what it looks like. Fingers crossed again. Right. See what it looks like. Nervous moment. Very nervous moment. Let's put a couple of bolts in at the top. You have to bear in mind as well, of course, that bumpers always do look slightly different. We'll get in there. That's it. Right, how's it look? Well, going to the wing there, looks alright. Bumper to wing looks fine. And bumper to wing looks fine that side. Let's have a look at the bonnet. Bearing in mind we're getting a new bonnet, but I think this bonnet was quite light anyway. You know what, it's a better colour match than the original. It is a better colour match than the original, can't believe that. Wow. Let's put the sides in. Let's go and get my squirty bottle. And we get the sides in. But so far so good, it's looking pretty damn good, I have to say. Paints for you again, come up trumps. So it's just because that's new, so you have to sort of push that one up if you can. Push that one. Yeah. Come on. Don't want this to have to come off again. There we go. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Look at that. Spot on. That is fantastic. Perfect fit. Absolutely perfect fit. Right, let's go around the other side. Sorry about the light, but where the sun is at the moment, so I can't help but cast shadows. Should have left this to the morning really, when the sun was down the other side, but I didn't. So, right. You've got to make sure that goes on the top. Why is that not going in? It's in the way. I think it's the, there we go. It's the arch liner. Yeah. That is a pretty good match. Very, very slightly different. Very, very, very slight. But I'd say that was a better match than the one that was on it before. Ah, that's amazing. That is amazing. When you think what that old one was like. And now we've got a brand new shiny bumper. Freshly painted. Which pretty damn well matches. Well chuffed. Right, I'm going to get those top screws in, and then tomorrow we'll come out and we'll just screw it up properly. But that I am well pleased at. Well pleased. So it's going to need a little bit of adjustment. I've literally just put tightened down those two top bolts. That's all at the moment. That bonnet was always a bit on the light side anyway, and it does look light, of course, to this. But if I reckon if I get an original one, which is the one I'm hoping to get on Tuesday. I reckon that will match the bumper better. If I don't, then I will be painting that bumper, that bonnet, in the same paint as that bumper. I will have to get another can because I've only got about 2/3 of a can left. But yeah, I'll cross that bridge next week. So the people at the breakers in Romford are in on back on Monday, so I'm hoping to go down there early Tuesday morning and get it. And then if I have to blend in the wing a little bit, I don't think I will, you know. I don't think it'll even be necessary. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, well pleased with that. Nice new shiny bumper. Morning, welcome back. So today is Monday. I've got a bit of an issue with this car. I haven't mentioned it on video before, although I had heard this noise and thought, can I get away with this? And last night I was moving the cars around and I reversed this one out from in front of the house and down the drive. Sorry, the other way around, reversed it up the drive to put it in front of the house. And obviously being a nice warm summer's day, all the windows open. My wife, who knows absolutely nothing about cars, said, what was that funny noise it was making? So to the untrained ear, well, I'm untrained as well of course, but she heard the noise. So what I'm going to try and do now, before I explain it to you, is I'm going to set the camera up on the tripod and I'm going to put the microphone up with the camera. I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to reverse the car towards the camera, hopefully without knocking it over. And hopefully you'll hear the noise. I'm sure you will. Now I think this means it's going to need a new gearbox. I could be wrong, and I am going to try and send the noise, bit of film with the noise, to the mechanic and ask his opinion. But I think it's going to need a new gearbox. So let me set the camera up, we'll get in the car, we'll reverse it, and we'll go from there, and then let you hear the noise and see what you think. So hopefully you heard that. So as you can hear, it's the gearbox. When the gearbox is in drive going backwards, you get that ding ding. You know, I can't even do that. I'm trying to do the noise, I can't do the noise, but you can hear sort of, I mean obviously reverse gear isn't synchromesh, so you get a little bit of noise anyway when you're reversing, but it's very coggy is the best description I can give. So it drives perfectly fine, it reverses perfectly fine. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are fine. There's nothing wrong with it as far as that's concerned. It's just that noise. So let me know what you think that noise is. But I think it's going to have a new gearbox. Not good. Apart from the gearbox, what I've decided I'm going to do with this, as I say, I'm well pleased with the finish on the bumper, although it is a slightly different colour. So what I've decided to do, I think that the colour of that bumper is more accurate to the original colour. Now this has had some spraying done on it. It looks different to that one. It doesn't look as different to that one. So we believe that the accident was on that side. 100% it was on that side. So although it does look a little bit different there, it's fresh paint of course. It looks different to the bonnet, and we know the bonnet has been resprayed not very well and needs sorting out. And I thought to myself though, what's the chance if I spend £100 and probably £20 in fuel going over and getting the bonnet from Essex, is it going to match? What would be a better idea, I think, is to use the paint that I've got, and it's got to be repaired anyway this, so we'll get rid of all the rust spots, we'll rub all those down, fill them if necessary, prime those bits, rub the entire bonnet down, and then just repaint it in the new paint. That way it's going to match. Hopefully I can make a decent job of it. The bumper's fine. Hopefully I can make a decent job of the bonnet as well. And I think probably what we'd do is polish it more would use more wet sanding on the bonnet to get a better finish, even better finish. And of course it's on metal rather than plastic, so hopefully that will do. And then probably what I will do is I will also blend in the wings as well. Certainly this wing, if not the other one as well. I think that's probably the best bet. So that's the plan for this week. As regards the gearbox, I say I'm going to speak to the mechanic, see what he thinks. We can get a gearbox for about 300 quid. Now I did think about getting a breaker car and me taking the gearbox out. Obviously if I have a new gearbox, I'll have a new clutch as well, which will be a selling point of the car, of course. But yeah, it's not ideal, is it? I think I will probably still make money, because this car didn't really cost me very much. I can't remember the exact figures at the moment, but I had a look last night, and I don't think it would, but if it cost me £1,000 to put a new gearbox in, I would still just be in profit. That's based on selling this for 3.5. Before I got the new bumper, I would have said no way it's going to be 3.5 grand because it's crap. But now we've got the new bumper on and it all lines up nice, apart from the bonnet. Of course, once this is all done, it'll actually turn into a really nice car. And it's a 14 plate with low mileage. What was it, 50,000? Something like that, 52,000? It says 25 at the moment, but of course it's got the new speedo in, which I haven't increased the mileage on yet. So that's the plan, I think. But I'm going to get the mechanic to price up. I don't want to do the gearbox, as much as I'm sure I probably could. Doing it on the driveway, of course we've still got the BMW here. Doing it down here on the driveway, on stands, on a slope is just... I'm not happy doing that at all. I've never done one before. You know, I'd take one out if I was stripping the car down. But I think if I need to get a new gearbox, I'm just going to get the mechanic to do it. You know, he charges 40 quid an hour. How long does it take to do a gearbox for a professional? 3 hours? 4 hours? Don't know. I ain't got a clue. Right, next day. Okay, so I had a call from QuickFit, where I take the cars for MOTs now. MOT is tomorrow. Unfortunately, their ramper's broken. So I've had to rebook it for next Monday, which doesn't matter, obviously, because we've got the gearbox issue. So I spoke to the mechanic. He told me 3 or 4 hours. I've bought a clutch. He told me a Valeo clutch, it was about 130 quid, which is a decent one. I got the same Valeo clutch on carpartsforless.co.uk for about 80 quid. It was less than 130 anyway, and they were doing a 23% discount, as they often do. So yeah, so I got that for about, I think it was about £78 or something like that. I forgot to buy the gearbox oil, so I'll have to get that. And messaged Club 500 Italia last night on eBay. See if they had a decent gearbox and how much it would cost to have it delivered to me, and they're doing it gearbox including delivery and VAT for £300. So that's pretty good, pretty damn good. So it's going to be less than £500 to get this new gearbox in, which is absolutely amazing. I'm not buying a Land Rover, but I am going to bid on a car in a few minutes. This is on BCA. It's on lot 12 at the moment. The lot I'm bidding on is lot 22, I think. So we're nearly there. Right, so I've given the engine bay a little bit of a clean. I've got to put a new battery in here, actually. I've still got the old battery in here. I can't remember if this is one that was in it when it came or whether it was one I put in. I can't remember now. But it's the wrong battery. I have bought a new battery for it, which I will put in very shortly. So the other thing I noticed the other day is one that's broken, as they often are, and that is vibrating the hell out of that when the engine fan comes on. So I'm not quite sure why it's doing it, but we need to take that off and potentially replace some of those rubber bits, or pack it out with washers or whatever we need to do to stop it from rattling around. So yeah, let's do that. as you saw then, I changed the air filter. I couldn't remember whether I'd changed it or not on this when I first got it, which I clearly hadn't. It wasn't that bad actually, but I changed it anyway. I've sorted these out. This is nice and solid now. So basically what it was is the rubber, it's a top and a bottom piece of rubber in one, with a skinnier bit in the middle, and it pushes in, so the skinnier bit is in the fitting, and then you've got the thicker bit top and a thicker bit bottom, and then the screw, then the metal insert comes through from underneath, and then you screw down onto the thread, and the bottom piece of the rubber on both sides was missing, split, so obviously it was just rattling. But now, although it's sort of moving, it's cushioned by the rubber, so that should do it. New filter in. I've taken that off because I'm going to glue the thing on, and then we'll put that back on later on. So I think we're done under here for the time being. Still waiting for the paint to come for this. I could take this off and start doing it. I'm not even sure that I'm going to do it today anyway. Now the MOT's been put off till next week, I've got plenty of time, and you know, with the gearbox issue, got the gearbox, well, not got the gearbox, bought the gearbox, £300 from Club 500 Italia, being dispatched today, so that is due, according to eBay, to be here Monday morning. Or Monday, I should say, not necessarily morning, but Monday. So I need to get the mechanic booked in to do it for me. I think I'll wait. I'll probably message him tonight actually, because the clutch will be in the next couple of days, I expect. So if I can book him in either for the back end of next week or the beginning of the following, ideally, then that hopefully should do that. And hopefully next week we'll get a pass on the MOT. I'm not doing the gearbox until such time as it's gone through the MOT, just in case, which will be Monday. Yeah. So what else have we got to do? I think I'm going to leave it now. Actually, we're all clean on the inside apart from a final clean. We've got to do this damage down here. I might have a little go at this, see if I can get these out, because I don't really want to have to fill these. Ideally, I want to try and be able to pull those out, or find another dent bloke, because that dent bloke never ever did get back to me. So I need to find someone if I can't do that. But I need to do this bit, so I'm probably going to pull that out a little bit and then fill it, I imagine. I think I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to fill it, I think. At least it's down low, so you don't really notice it too much, but I'll do obviously the best job I can. So that is it for the time being, I think, on this. As I say, we'll come back later on, and we'll give those dents a go. And we've got to put that back in. But that's it for now on here. We'll come back when we do the bonnet, I think. That'll be the next thing to do. I think will be to paint that bonnet, and then obviously we're going to have to blend those wings in as well, aren't we, to match the bumper. So yeah, I'll see you when we do that. Well, morning, welcome back. Today is Monday, and today is reorganised MOT day. As I said, I think on the last bit, MOT was meant to be last week, but their machine broke, their ramp broke, so it has been redone for today. So we are going to just quickly go over the car. I think everything's ready for the MOT. I'm just going to check the tyre pressures. What's that water? Where's that coming from? Hopefully that's from the air conditioning, which was just on when I first started it. It looks like water rather than coolant, doesn't it? Whew. I'll check that, but yeah, no, I think it's all right. Yeah, so MOT 11:30 today. I just got I think I've got to tighten up the wheel nuts. I don't think I tightened them up properly on this side at the very least. I've just checked the washers, they all work. I'm just going to go over it, double check all the lights are working, and etc, etc, etc. And I think we'll be ready to go then. We have the new gearbox that came last week. Let me just show you. So here's the new gearbox from our friends at Love 500. Extremely heavy, tiny little thing, but really heavy. I've never seen one out of the car before. Yeah, so there we got that. There's our linkage for where the what do you call it? Earth strap. That's why. So your slave cylinder sits across there, while it sits across there, that's the two bolts for it, the two screw holes for it there. And it goes right over the top of that bolt, which is where your earth cable goes. And then you've got your little plunger that goes onto there. And there's your little, what's that, the gear change, isn't it? That's the gear change. That looks like that's been replaced. That looks new, doesn't it, that whip? But yeah, it's a decent quality. I trust them implicitly. They were. I probably could have got one. It was £300. I probably could have got one for 250, and there were actually a couple there for less than 200. However, I trust Club 500 Italia implicitly. They always and they only sell good quality parts. Hence why I paid. There were some on there for silly money, you know, £400, £500, £600, £800. Some of them ridiculous amounts of money. I could have got a recon one as well. This is not a recon one. It's, you know, just out of a car that they've broken up. But yeah, as I say, I trust them implicitly. So was that supposed to be in there? Yes. I thought for a minute it was a stud that had, yeah, no, it is, isn't it? That's obviously a locating stud, and then the bolt goes through there. It had me worried then for a second. So yeah, so that's the gearbox. That's being fitted on Friday, not by me, I hasten to add. I wasn't comfortable doing it on the drive. I'm sure I could do it, but I'm just not comfortable doing it on the driveway. Yeah, I'm not going to make excuses, I just don't want to do it. Simple as that. And when you know, the guy that I'm using, Glenn the mobile guy, he's so good and he's quick, and he only charges me £40 an hour. You know, he said 3 or 4 hours, so you know, less than 200 quid it's going to cost me to have it fitted. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, so that's that. So apart from the tyre pressures, which I've got to tyre pressures and make sure the bolts are done up, I've got a feeling that tyre could do with a little bit of air. The only other thing we've got to do is, as you can see, the mileage there reads 25,000. And it also flashes as well. Not that that will fail its MOT, but of course, if I leave it at 25,000, that will flag up on. If anyone had done an HPI check on it, it would flag up as being inconsistent mileage, because obviously that had a new speedo in. So I need to adjust the mileage back to what it should be. And the reason the mileage is flashing, I believe, is because I put a new stereo in it, so it's looking for the old stereo still. So I will do a proxy alignment, and that, because first of all I thought it was the Blue and Me, but that seems to be working fine. So I think it is that. It's not the speedo that's making it. You don't get flashing mileage with changing the speedo, but you would do with the stereo. So yeah, hopefully a proxy alignment will take care of that. So I'm just going to get that done now. I'm not going to bother filming that, but we will be back later on this morning or early afternoon with the result of the MOT. I took this round the block, literally just not even half a mile around the block at the weekend, and I am still getting that clonking from underneath. And someone suggested it could be a engine mount or gearbox mount. Obviously, if it's a gearbox mount, that's coming off. So yeah, that wouldn't matter as long as it's not damaged, of course. I think it's more, I don't know, it could be the exhaust knocking, it could be a bit of suspension, I don't know. So without knowing what it is, that's another reason for getting the MOT done first, because that way, you know, if anything is going to pop up on the MOT, that might do, and we might find out after the MOT, you know, even if it might come up as an advisory, or it might be something that would fail the MOT, don't know. I just don't know where it's coming from. Yeah, but once, if I don't identify it or it doesn't come up in the MOT, I will ask the mechanic if he can have just a cursory look around it and see if he can figure out what it is. If it's the bottom arm or something like that, what I might as well do is get him to do the bottom arm at the same time. I'm not sure if he's going to take the bumper and the front panel off to do the gearbox or not, or whether he's just going to do it from underneath. I don't know. I'll have to ask him that. But if it is something like a bottom arm needs doing, which I don't think it is, it just makes sense to get him to do it at the same time. Because there's no point in me taking it all off and then putting it back on and then him taking it off again. You know, he's got to take drive shafts out and what have you, so he might as well do that at the same time. Anyway, I will be back, as I say, after the MOT, and I'll let you know how we get on. Well, that was weird. I adjusted the mileage, put the mileage up to what it should be, did a proxy alignment, carried on, the mileage carried on flashing. So I went through all the ECUs, no errors, I actually paired my phone to it, to the Blue and Me. It's because it was coming up with a Blue and Me error. When you do the proxy alignment, it comes up and it says telematics mode, something or other, in red, and that's why the mileage is flashing. And I went to the Blue and Me unit, no errors, So then I paired my phone to it, and I didn't have the stereo switched on. Now, you shouldn't need to have the stereo switched on, but I switched the stereo on, paired my phone to it, and I've actually had to do the proxy alarm 4 times, and it's finally stopped flashing, and I don't really know why. Blue Me works, steering wheel controls work, don't know. But whether it was because I changed that stereo, but I hadn't had that stereo switched on, that could be. Maybe that is what it is, but the moral of this story is, which I have had in the past, just because your flashing mileage doesn't work the first time, even though it says completed, try it again. That's the most I've ever had to do it. Normally two goes and it does it, but yeah, four times, and finally it did it. I had visions of having to get yet another Blue Me unit repaired for another £93. But yeah, no, it's all fine now. Just going to finish all my checks, make sure the lights and everything work, blow tyres up, and then we'll head down soon, but we'll come back as soon as the MOT's done and let you know. I've already said that, haven't I? Anyway, sorry, waffling again. See you soon. Okay, so we are back from the MOT, and we have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is it passed. Got a pass certificate here. The bad news is when I was about 200 feet away from the MOT station and heard a beep, looked at the speedo, and it said coolant temperature too high, stop. And the temperature gauge was right at the very top. The car seemed to be running okay. I had the air conditioning on at the time. Everything seemed to be working fine. Took it in there and said to him, I think it seems to be okay. I said, but he said, is there any lights on? I said, well, just the temperature light. And he said, let me just check with the tester. Came back, he said, yeah, no, it should be okay. He said, obviously he needed to know, because obviously it's going to be up on the ramp and he's going to have the engine running for some of the tests. So it was fine. It's got a advisory, suspension arm, pin or bush worn, but not resulting in excessive movement near side front. So I'm hoping that is what's causing the clonk, because I am getting, not all the time, but certain bumps I go over and what have you, there is a definite clonk coming from down that bottom, that left-hand corner. So we're not really sure whether it is that, but I will obviously have to change that. Now, the bad news, apart from this temperature, is when I was driving it back, it started making a rattle noise. And again, I don't know whether that's something that's loose, but you would have thought that would have come up on the MOT, wouldn't you? If there was a loose exhaust bracket or something like that. But awful racket it was making. I'm going to try and reproduce it in a minute. Well, I hope it won't reproduce, but I've been home about an hour, and I've had the bonnet open. Obviously, I haven't touched the cap. I don't know. I mean, I did diagnostics this morning and nothing came up. Normally, you get an error come up on that temperature sensor. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I might have to plug it in again and see if any, because there's a possibility it's just gone. Now, I say that, but let me just put the MOT down. If you remember, for those of you who watched this, the series on this car so far, the day I got it back from my sister-in-law's, because when I originally got the car, did the walk around, took it over to my sister-in-law's, left it there. When I initially brought it back, which is about a 1.5 mile drive, something like that, I was sitting here. I'd been home for about 15-20 minutes, and I turned the ignition on, and I did actually make a point of saying, oh, it's the temperature gauge is reading like normal running temperature. And I was quite surprised, considering I'd only driven that short distance and I'd been home for 15-20 minutes. I didn't really think anything of it. Now, I don't know if this is related. I haven't serviced this car yet. I wanted to get it MOT'd first. But I don't recall whether I've checked the coolant level. So I am now questioning. I haven't looked yet, again, because I wanted to let it cool right down. But I am questioning as to whether there is enough coolant in there and whether that's the reason. Normally, it's either that or it's the thermostat. So let me just turn the ignition on now, and we'll see. We'll see what it's up to now. Bear with me a second. It's moving up. Turn the radio off. Yeah, so it's at normal running temperature now, and as I say, it's been sitting here for about an hour, and it's showing, or thereabouts, maybe 45 minutes, and it's showing normal running temperature. So I'm going to have a look under. Well, as I say, bonnet's up. I'm going to take the cap off now and have a look and get a torch down there and see. Maybe it is low. Maybe I've got a leak. Don't know. Or maybe it's just low. I can't remember whether I've actually checked it. I would normally do that, and I'll have to look back at previous videos and see whether I have. And I don't know whether that rat was anything to do with it. This car. Remember what I've said earlier on in these videos. This was a customer car, so a C at the end of the lot number on the windscreen. My golden rule is don't buy a C car, and I took a punt on this one, and now you can understand why. Dodgy bonnet, dodgy bumper, speedo didn't work, filthy dirty, needs a new gearbox, and now this. Although it's past the MOT, I've got 12 months MOT on it. So stupidly I bought this car, but I had a punt. There is a car, same colour therapy, which has got a smashed in rear quarter. It's done 40-something thousand miles, which is on Copart tomorrow. I'm going to have a bid on it and see if I can get it and use it as a breaker. Because I've still got, although I've done that bumper, let me just turn this ignition off. Although I've done that bumper, obviously we know it doesn't match. I've got to paint that. I've got to repair the rear quarter, which is you know, rear quarter's not that much to do. Gearbox is being fitted Friday, as you know. So I'm still going to complete this car, but I'm just thinking if I could win this car, it's at £600 at the moment. Chances are it'll go for far too much, but I'm thinking if I can get that, rather than repairing it, it's only done 40-something thousand, whereas this is done like 50,000. It is a 13 plate, whereas this is a 14 plate, so it'll be a pre-facelift, whereas this, sorry, it'll be a pre-facelift, if you see what I mean. Whereas this is a pre-facelift. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from with that. So yeah, if I can win that, I'll park it over at my sister-in-law's. I'll swap over the bumper. I'll put that other old bumper back on it, swap over the bonnet and what have you, and then leave it there for a little while and maybe use it as a breaker car. Once I've got rid of this one and the other car, I can bring it down here and maybe break it for spares. If I get it, we'll see. Right, let's have a look at the torch first. Oh no, it is quite low actually. It is actually low. It's right down, it's about, you know where you've got that little bit that pokes out? Just above that is the minimum. So it's about 6 inches below the minimum. So at the bottom of the pipe, you've got about that much coolant. So it definitely needs some coolant. Whether that's the reason or not remains to be seen. I think it has leaked at some point down here, but whether that's a leak from now or not, I don't know. I'm more interested in what the rattle is, to be honest. Dread to think. What could it be? Don't know. It's not that. Let's get this off. Don't think it's going to come up, but nothing. No pressure at all there, surprisingly. Right, let's get some coolant in. Just going to go and grab some. Bear with me. Let's get some in. Let's check that level again. Yeah, it's still a long way. Could it be just a lack of coolant? Am I losing coolant? Get a torch again. Oh blimey, it's not. There must be a lack of it because it's not going down. Or up rather. It's obviously pushing around the system. Maybe it is just a lack of coolant. Yeah, it's still in the same place. So it's obviously pushing it round, so I think we're going to have to start the engine and empty the rest of this in. Luckily I've just bought some more. When Car Parts for Less had a 23% off sale, which was nice. Oh, it's coming right up now. Right, it's on minimum now, so I've put, I don't know what was in there to start with. I've put quite a bit in, haven't I? I'm going to go and grab the new bottle and put a bit more in. probably enough now. No, still on minimum. So it is taking quite a bit, isn't it? I've got a bit stuck in there, it hasn't pulled it out properly. Bloody thing's in the way. Did I not check this? I'm surprised I didn't check this. It's normally the sort of thing I would do quite early on. Maybe I didn't. That's really sloppy of me if I didn't. Right, it's just above minimum now. So I have actually put quite a lot in, haven't I? So what we'll do is we'll start her up. That's still more. Right, that's all I'm putting in now. And I've used about a third of that. And it's still about halfway between minimum and maximum. So I'm going to start her up and leave the cap off and see what happens. And let's see if we get that noise as well. Right. Right, let's start her up. So maybe it's not actually the coolant thing, maybe it was the coolant itself. God, it's right, gone right down again. Now it's started to push it through. Oh, we have got a leak here. Yeah, we got a leak. Stop the engine. We got a leak. Where's it coming from? Where the hell is it coming from? Damn it. Thermostat? I think it's the thermostat. I think it's, you know, the normal. Oh, it's broken right off. It's broken right off. It's the thermostat. It's the actual thermostat itself. Let me show you. Right, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see down there, but the hose. It's out of focus, isn't it? No, you can't really see, but that, you see the hose, you can just about see the hose there, the clip on the hose. That hose has actually completely sheared off. Yeah, it snapped right off. So that's why. Well, that's good in a way. God, I'd rather that happen now than when someone's bought the car. So we better get one ordered. And then tomorrow, well, whenever it comes, we'll sort that out as well. This car, I don't know. Right, let's go and get one ordered. Look at it all. All that, loads of that coolant that I've just put in is completely wasted. Oh well, if I leave the cap off, I suppose it'll, we won't lose quite so much. Never mind. Luckily, I've got loads. I probably need to order some more now. Oh my God. Never rains but it pours, does it? So, as regards that bottom arm, obviously bumper needs to come off, suspension arm needs to come off to do that. Now, seeing as he's doing the gearbox on Friday, he might as well do that at the same time, mightn't he? So I think what I'll do in the meantime is I'll get the BMW in front of the house, I'll get that down here, and then we can, I might even get that off today, and hopefully, I don't think I've got one. What if I have got one? Don't think so, but we'll get one and we'll get it done. So yeah, so I'll see you whenever we get that thermostat, and then we'll get it done, and then hopefully that will take care of that bloody rattling noise. Right, I have ordered, as you can see, I've swapped the cars around. BMW's in front of the house, as it will stay there now until the day it goes to the body shop. We are gonna have a go at that in a minute, but I thought what I'd do first is, now I've got this car here, bearing in mind today's Monday, I've ordered 2 thermostats, so should this happen again I'll have one. I'll always do that from now on. I'll keep them as a spare, because we all know that they can just go like that, which is what's happened on this one. So I'll keep a spare. So the chances are they're not going to come till Wednesday or Thursday. Now I'm not working today or tomorrow, but I'm working on Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm on lates. So if I can get it off, and when a bit of time I have in the morning before I start work on one of those days, I can probably put it on, because obviously I need to have it on and working by Friday when the gearbox is done. So I might as well do that. I'm going to take the battery and the battery tray out and get it off, and we shouldn't need to move it before then. There's no reason we need to move it before then. So yeah, let's stick you up on time lapse. Let's do that. Let's get that out. Take long. I'll tell you what, these pre-facelift or these pre-facelift facelifts and facelifts that have got the ECU there are a pain, because they are connected to the battery tray. Although having said that, if you don't take that one off when you've got the flat one on the ordinary ones, it gets in the way. So once you have actually got that out of the way, there's plenty of room there to be able to get to it. But yeah, completely snapped off. So I've got to get the other pipe off of the other bit as well. But awful, terrible design. Another bit of scrap for the scrap man. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this all off, and then when these things come before Friday, we can put the thermostat on. I won't put any of this back on, because of course he will. Hopefully he'll do it just here. He won't need to move it at all. Right, a couple of days has passed. Excuse the police siren. That is from Euros, or the car parts for less. And I thought that was going to be metal, but it's not. It's a plastic one, but it is what it is. I think probably the more expensive ones are metal. I did buy the cheapest one, which is Starline, which are all right, I think. I bought Starline stuff quite a few times before, and they seem to be fine. But yeah, I think the ones from eBay are going to be plastic as well. But I think maybe in future I'll spend a little bit more and get the metal ones, if they are indeed metal. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to go on now. So it's Thursday today, and the gearbox is being done tomorrow. So down there I have got the bottom arm for this side, which I'm going to ask Glenn if he can put on at the same time. And we've also got the paints there that came yesterday from Paints For You, as usual, next day delivery, fantastic service. So that is the paint for this, the lighter one with a bit of yellow in it. 1 can of that, and then we've got the 2 cans for the Pearl car. So right, I need to get on with this. So I'm working today, so I've come out early. It's only about 7:45, I think. We'll get this done. I'll set it up in time lapse. We're just going to roughen up, get the any old bits of glue that are still hanging around on there, and obviously you put a bead of silicone around here as well, not just the rubber seal, and then it's just the 2 bolts as usual. We'll pipe it up. Pipe it up. Here's a term. We'll pipe it up. I did buy some new, not the big ones. I've already got those, but the small ones. I bought some new things. I think they're actually going to be too small, but I have got some others anyway, because I don't ever trust these things. These ones especially, they don't ever seem to go on properly. So we'll try and reuse them, but I'm not convinced they'll work. So yeah, we'll get it piped up in inverted commas. We'll refill with coolant as much as we can, but obviously I can't start the engine because we've got no battery or ECU in there. So yeah, let's set you up and we'll get this on. that's that done. So we got new thermostat. I put a new clamp on the big hose, and I managed to reuse the smaller one, which is good. It's not a single-use one like those other ones. Great stuff. Right, and we have here the can of. I'm going to have to write on this. So this is the lighter one, and here we've got the 2 cans of the Pearl. Now they both say the same thing. Oh, 1 and 2. Colour 1 BSB, colour 2 BSB. So I'm assuming that one goes on first, then that one goes on. Scary. Irritado. So yeah, hopefully that'll match when we do the repair. Yeah, come tomorrow. New gearbox. So we got new thermostat. We will have whether Glenn puts it on or not, and I'm sure he will. New bottom arm. We got the MOT. We'll have the new gearbox. Hopefully that bottom arm is going to take care of that rattle. If not, then we will have to investigate that further and potentially change other things as well, even if it comes to changing top mounts. I don't think it's things like that, but I'm going to ask Glenn to have a look. I'm going to say to him, while you're under there, can you have a look at the engine mounts, gearbox mount? Well, obviously the gearbox mount's going to come off to change the gearbox, but or new clutch as well, of course. So this is going to be quite a good. I've got one of these. I may even put a new one of those on. And I'm just, oh no, yeah, earth strap. I think I'm going to change the earth strap as well. I'll get an earth strap out and say to him, when you put the new earth strap, when you put the earth strap back on, can you put that one on? We'll get rid of that one. So, what do we got? Let's go over it again. So we've got new gearbox, new clutch. Potentially, I might put a new slave cylinder on. New thermostat. New bottom arm. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Obviously I won't film Glenn when he's doing it, but we'll come in and I'll show you bits and pieces, hopefully. And then by the end of the day we'll have a new gearbox and a new clutch. So I'll see you tomorrow. Right, we now have a new gearbox. Now, there was a bit of an issue which has been resolved. There's me repair, which still needs a little bit of work, but it's almost ready for paint now. I put some primer on, but you can still see some in it, so it's needs a little bit of a further sand down. It's covered in dust as well. But the issue was, so gearbox went in 3 hours exactly. So it cost me £120 to have it fitted. New clutch as well, new Valeo clutch, which I got for £71, which was an absolute bargain. So what the problem was, so gearbox went in, obviously we're up on axle stands, wheels off, drive shafts out, etc, etc, etc. Gearbox is in, drive shafts back in, not wheels on, so still up in the air, and then to go through the gears, started the engine, went through the gears, got to 5th gear, and 5th gear was a little bit not on the stiff side, it was in the wrong place, if that makes sense. In the wrong place, so you got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. So 5th was, so 3rd's there, and 5th should be there. It was sort of in the middle. So when you're naturally changing gear, you're going from 4th to 5th, you were missing, you couldn't get it in. It was as if it wasn't working, and then you just came over a little bit, and it was there. So it was in the wrong place. So we thought, there's something wrong with this gearbox. And he felt really guilty. He said, I really, if it was anyone else, he said, I wouldn't care. But he said, as it's you, he said, I feel guilty in charging you for doing it because it's going to have to be done again. You're going to have to get another gearbox. And he had a mate who came to see him at the time, who he sometimes works with. And he got on his phone and he was Googling it. And he said, apparently there's some adjustment on it. And he said, and the mechanic said, no, I don't think you can adjust these. There's no adjustment there. So they looked further into it. And I was standing there watching. And what they discovered was where you got the lever that goes onto the gearbox. I can't show. Actually, I'll show you on the old gearbox. Let me just go out to the other gearbox. Yeah. So on here, so where you've got, that's obviously we're looking at the gearbox from the back here. So you've got the ball joint that fits on there, and then you've got the cable that comes up here. Now on that cable, there's a nut. They're like a lock nut, and apparently what you do is you can adjust that lock nut. So he flipped it off. No, before he flipped it off, he got the bloke to sit in it, went through the gears so he could see the exact position it was all in, got it to go into 5th, and then he took the ball joint off, and then he was adjusting that lock nut. First of all, he went the wrong way and he couldn't get it in at all. And then he went the other way and it was in the right position. And he said to me, you get in. He said, you're used to driving these. You know where fifth gear should be. Get in and see what you think. So I got in. This with the engine running. So he got first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Just about missed it. Not quite. He adjusted it again. It went in perfect. So we thought initially it was the problem with the gearbox, but he said he's never come across this problem before and never had to adjust anything like that. But for whatever reason, it needed adjusting. So if you ever have that problem, if you stick a new gearbox in, try that adjustment rather than thinking it's a dodgy gearbox. So I haven't taken it for a drive. All I've done is taken it up reversed it up the drive. So we got the normal whine that you get from a reverse gearbox. First of all, again, we thought that there was a problem with it. Wheels off, it's spinning as it does, but that's because no traction on the ground. They're just spinning. He said, you know, normally you'd be going back sort of 10, 15 mile an hour, something like that. The wheels are going, it's probably going back at 30 mile an hour. So the whine is sort of increased, not being synchromesh. So that's fine. I've gone up the drive, it's fine. It's as reverse should be. Because we thought that might be a problem as well, but it's not. So it's done. So I've got new clutch, new gearbox, or second-hand gearbox. So that cost me £72 for the clutch, £300 for the gearbox, and £120 to fit. So you do the maths, whatever that is. So not bad, not a bad price at all, I don't think. So we're going to end this video now because I think it's about an hour long now. So we've done quite a lot in this video, and obviously we had the unexpected problem with the water leaking. That's all topped up, that's all bled, that's all working fine now. Haven't done any damage, I don't think. There's no rattling or anything. We also put on a new bottom arm, which Glenn did for me. He had trouble getting it into the front. And he said, I think the subframe's slightly damaged. So he managed to adjust the bush and get it in. So it went in, he had to hammer it in, but it's gone in and it seems fine. There is a possibility that is not the knocking noise. Although it did come up as an advisory on the MOT, he said there's a possibility your top mounts might need doing, or this one side, the top mount. So I need to take it out for a spin, try it. If it does still make the noise, I'll get top mounts for this side and change them next week. But I'm talking fast now because I'm trying to get this video finished because it's a bit long. So we'll carry on with this. We've still got the painting to do on the bonnet and that rear quarter repair, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to match. And then a service, and then we'll be done. So that will come in the next video. So as always, don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, click on the button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, and until the next one, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.